Listen to me very carefully right now. What I'm about to tell you is going to make a lot of women angry. In fact, some women have already messaged me saying, "You need to delete this. Men aren't supposed to know this." And that's exactly why I'm making this video. There's a secret, a psychological pattern that women use on men that has been working for thousands of years. And the reason it keeps working is because nobody talks about it. Women don't want you to know it because once you understand it, their power over you completely evaporates. And most men never figure it out because they're too busy being controlled by it to see what's actually happening. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, wrote something that applies perfectly here. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. And, brother, what women tell you they want versus what actually makes them attracted to you, two completely different things. And they want to keep you confused about which is which. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like some bitter toxic nonsense. Stay with me because what I'm about to explain isn't opinion. It's documented psychology. It's behavioral science. It's pattern recognition. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you understand it, you'll recognize it everywhere. In your current relationship, in your past relationships, in every interaction you've ever had with women. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to walk you through this step by step. I'm going to show you the exact psychological mechanism women use to create obsession in men. I'm going to explain why it works so powerfully. I'm going to show you how to recognize when it's being used on you. And most importantly, I'm going to teach you how to become completely immune to it using ancient Stoic wisdom. This is going to be uncomfortable. You might get angry. You might feel defensive. That's normal. Truth has a way of making us uncomfortable before it sets us free. But if you stick with me through this entire breakdown, I promise you, your perspective on dating and relationships will never be the same. You'll see the game clearly for the first time. And once you see the game clearly, you can choose whether to play or walk away. Let's get into it. Alright? So, let's start with the big reveal. The secret women don't want you to know. Ready? Here it is. Women don't create attraction by treating you well. They create obsession by treating you inconsistently. Now, think about that for a second. Really let it sink in. The woman in your life who treats you consistently well, who's always available, always sweet, always giving you attention. How do you feel about her? Probably comfortable. Maybe grateful, maybe you appreciate her, but are you obsessed with her? Are you checking your phone every 5 minutes, hoping she texted? Are you replaying conversations in your head, analyzing every word? Are you thinking about her 24/7? Probably not. But that other woman, the one who's hot one day and cold the next, texting you paragraphs on Monday, one-word answers on Thursday, super affectionate when you're together, then distant for days afterward. Can't get enough of you 1 week, barely acknowledges you exist the next week. That woman, she has you absolutely hooked. You're analyzing every interaction. You're wondering what you did wrong. You're desperate to figure out how to get back to the good version of her. And here's what's crazy. This isn't random. This isn't just her being moody or confused. This is a pattern. And it's working on you right now if you don't recognize it for what it is. See, women have figured out something that psychology has proven through decades of research. It's called intermittent reinforcement. And it's the same principle that makes slot machines so addictive. The same principle that makes social media so addictive. And it's the exact same principle that makes inconsistent women so incredibly magnetic to men. Here's how it works psychologically. When you get rewarded consistently, like a paycheck every 2 weeks, your brain adapts. It becomes expected, normal. You stop feeling excited about it because you know it's coming. But when rewards come unpredictably, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. You never know when it's coming. Your brain goes absolutely crazy trying to figure out the pattern, trying to secure the reward, obsessing over how to guarantee you get it next time. This is why gambling is so addictive. You win sometimes, you lose sometimes, but you never know when you're going to win. So, Your brain stays activated, stays engaged, stays completely hooked on, trying to crack the code. And brother, this is exactly what happens when a woman is inconsistent with her attention and affection toward you. When she's sweet and affectionate, your brain releases dopamine. You feel amazing. You're on top of the world. Then she pulls away, goes cold, becomes distant. And you don't just return to baseline. Emotionally, you drop below baseline. You're not just neutral about her absence. You're actively distressed by it. You start thinking about her constantly, wondering what changed, questioning what you did wrong, analyzing every text message, looking for clues. And here's the trap. That distress, that desperate need to get back to the high she gave you makes you chase. You text more. You try harder. You become more available. You compromise your boundaries. You accept treatment you'd never tolerate from anyone else. All because you're addicted to getting back to that feeling she gave you, then took away. The Stoics warned about this exact dynamic 2,000 years ago. Epictetus taught about not being controlled by external things, especially other people's emotions and behaviors. He said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. But most men do the exact opposite. They give their power away by letting a woman's inconsistent behavior completely control their emotional state. Now, here's what makes this so insidious. Most women aren't doing this consciously. They're not sitting in their room thinking, how can I manipulate this guy today? It's instinctive. They've learned through experience, sometimes without even realizing it, that inconsistency creates more attraction than consistency. They've seen that the guys they treat well lose interest while the guys they treat inconsistently become obsessed. So even without understanding the psychology, they've learned the pattern. Be available, then unavailable. Be affectionate, then distant. Create the high, then take it away. And this pattern has been working on men since the beginning of human relationships. And this is why women don't want you to know about it. Because the moment you understand this pattern, the moment you recognize it for what it is, it loses its power over you. You stop being reactive, you stop chasing, you stop letting her inconsistent behavior dictate your emotional state. You see the game clearly. And once you see the game clearly, you can't be played anymore. Let me break down exactly how this pattern shows up in real life so you can recognize it when it's happening to you. And I guarantee if you're dealing with a woman right now who has you feeling confused and obsessed, you're going to recognize at least 3 or 4 of these tactics. First, there's what I call the hot-cold cycle. 1 week, she's all over you, texting constantly, wanting to see you, making plans, being affectionate, making you feel like you're the only guy in her world. Then, suddenly, without warning or explanation, everything changes. Short replies, I'm busy. Distant energy. Maybe she's still talking to you, but the warmth is gone, and there's no clear reason for the shift. This creates massive confusion in your brain. What changed? What did I do wrong? How do I get back to how things were? And boom, you're hooked. Second, there's strategic unavailability. You have an amazing date or an incredible night together. Real connection, deep conversation, physical intimacy. You feel like you're really bonding. Then afterward, she becomes a ghost, not responding for hours or days. Suddenly, she's so busy, she can't even send a quick text. This makes you panic. Did I do something wrong? Did I come on too strong? Did I misread the whole situation? And that panic makes you desperate to see her again to fix whatever you imagine you broke. Third, there's emotional withdrawal. This one is particularly brutal. You open up to her, share something vulnerable, create real emotional intimacy. She responds positively in the moment. You feel closer than ever. Then the next time you talk to her, it's like that intimate conversation never happened. She's back to surface level chit-chat. She's not referencing what you shared. She's not building on that emotional connection. It's like she hit the reset button. This makes you question everything. Did that moment mean nothing to her? Was I the only one who felt that connection? And now you're working twice as hard trying to get back to that level of depth. Fourth, there's the attention drought. After making you feel special and giving You lots of attention, she redirects that attention elsewhere. She's posting on social media constantly but not responding to your messages. She's going out with friends, but she's too busy to see you. She's clearly available, just not available for you. This creates scarcity. Suddenly, her attention feels valuable because it's being withheld. You start competing in your mind with whatever else is getting her attention, and that competition makes you try harder to win her focus back. Fifth, there's the comparison trigger. She mentions other guys. Not overtly, not like she's trying to make you jealous. Just casually. This guy at work is so funny. My friend set me up on this date. I was talking to this guy, and just enough to make you aware that you have competition, and that awareness activates your competitive instincts. Suddenly, you're not just trying to maintain her interest, you're trying to beat other guys for her attention. And finally, there's the mixed message. This might be the most confusing one. She says one thing, but does something completely different. I really like spending time with you, but then flakes on plans. You're so important to me, but then goes days without meaningful contact. I want this to work, but then puts in zero effort. The inconsistency between her words and her actions keeps you in a constant state of confusion. And that confusion keeps you engaged, trying to figure out what the truth really is. Now, here's what all these tactics have in common. They create uncertainty. And uncertainty is like crack cocaine for the human brain. Your brain hates uncertainty. It will obsess endlessly, trying to resolve it, trying to find patterns, trying to create certainty where none exists. And women, whether they realize it or not, use this psychological fact to keep you thinking about them constantly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He was talking about obstacles making us stronger. But this applies here too. The obstacle she creates through inconsistency becomes the very thing that makes you chase harder. The withdrawal creates the pursuit. The uncertainty creates the obsession. And brother, this is why you see smart, successful, high-value men completely lose their minds over women who treat them terribly. It's not because these women are so special. It's because these men are literally addicted to a psychological pattern they don't understand. They think they're in love. Really, they're just hooked on intermittent reinforcement. Meanwhile, the woman who treats them consistently well, the one who's always supportive, always available, always honest, they take her for granted. They get comfortable. They might even lose attraction because everything's too predictable. This is the brutal reality of human psychology. We chase uncertainty and take certainty for granted. Now, let me tell you exactly how to break free from this psychological trap. Because understanding the pattern is only step 1. You need to know how to actually become immune to it. And this is where Stoic philosophy becomes your ultimate weapon. First thing you need to do is recognize the pattern when it's happening. Stop making excuses for her inconsistency. She's just busy. She's going through a tough time. Maybe I did something wrong. No. Stop. Recognize the pattern for what it is. A mechanism that creates your obsession. Whether she's doing it intentionally or not, the moment you name it in your mind, this is intermittent reinforcement. This is the inconsistency pattern. You start breaking its power over you. You can't be unconsciously controlled by something you're consciously aware of. Awareness is the first step to freedom. Second, and this is critical, when she pulls away, when she goes cold, when she becomes distant, you do absolutely nothing. Don't text asking what's wrong. Don't try to fix it. Don't chase trying to get back the good version of her. Do nothing. This is what the Stoics called emotional discipline. Epictetus taught, you have power over your mind, not outside events. You cannot control her behavior, but you absolutely can control your response to her behavior. And the correct response to withdrawal is nothing. Let it sit. Let there be space. Don't rush to fill the void she created. Most men fail this test immediately. The second she goes quiet, they panic. They start sending, "Hey, you okay?" texts. They start trying to recreate whatever moment made her warm before. They start chasing. And that chasing is exactly What the pattern is designed to create. When you chase, you've lost. When you do nothing, you've maintained your power. Third, you need to match her energy. Exactly, not exceed it, not try to compensate for her lack of effort with more effort from you. Match it. If she takes 3 hours to respond, you take 3 hours to respond. If she's being distant, you be distant. If she's hot and cold, you be hot and cold. Mirror her energy precisely. This accomplishes 2 things. First, it protects your emotional investment by keeping it proportional to hers. You're not over-investing in someone who's under-investing in you. Second, it often makes her start chasing because now you've become the unpredictable one. And remember, unpredictability creates obsession. If you match her inconsistency, suddenly you're not the one being controlled anymore. Fourth, you absolutely must maintain your own life independent of her. Have your own plans, your own purpose, your own friendships, your own activities, your own goals. Build a life so full that whether she's available or not doesn't significantly impact your schedule or your mood. When you have genuine abundance, I'm talking real abundance, not fake pretending you have options. Abundance, her inconsistency stops mattering. She's available. Cool. If it works with your schedule, she's not also cool. You've got other things happening that fulfill you. This abundance mentality completely breaks her power, because you're no longer dependent on her for your happiness or validation. And fifth, the nuclear option. Set clear boundaries. Tell her directly that inconsistency doesn't work for you. Listen, I need consistency. Clear communication, reliable effort. If you can't provide that, this isn't going to work for me. Most men are terrified to have this conversation because they're afraid they'll lose her. But brother, you can't lose what you never truly had. And a woman who can only maintain your interest through inconsistent behavior isn't someone worth keeping anyway. The Stoics taught about living according to your principles, not adjusting yourself to secure someone else's approval. If consistency is your standard, then inconsistency should be a deal breaker. Period. When you implement these 5 steps, recognize the pattern. Don't chase when she withdraws. Match her energy. Maintain your life and set clear boundaries. Something powerful happens. Either she realizes the game isn't working anymore and actually becomes consistent, which is rare, or she moves on to find someone easier to control, which is common. And either way, you win because you're no longer being manipulated. Let me give you the deeper Stoic framework that makes you permanently immune to this manipulation. Marcus Aurelius spent his entire life practicing these principles while ruling the Roman Empire. If they worked for him, under that pressure, they'll work for you. Principle 1, control only what you control. You control your behavior, your standards, your boundaries, your level of investment. You do not control her behavior, her moods, her consistency, her choices. Stop trying to control what isn't yours to control. When she goes cold, that's her choice. How you respond is your choice. Put all your focus on your choices, not on trying to change hers. Principle 2, don't need what you can't control. The moment you need her consistent attention for your emotional stability, she has complete power over you. That need comes from emptiness in your own life. Fill your life. Build purpose. Cultivate friendships. Develop yourself. Create a life so fulfilling that no single woman's presence or absence significantly impacts your emotional state. This isn't about not caring. It's about not needing. Principle 3, see reality clearly without delusion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Stop believing what she says and start observing what she does. Her actions reveal truth. Her consistency or lack of consistency shows her actual level of investment. Most men lie to themselves because the truth is uncomfortable. Stoicism demands you face truth directly, even when it hurts. Principle 4, maintain your standards, regardless of circumstances. Inconsistency should be a deal breaker, not a challenge to overcome. If she can't provide consistent respect and effort, she doesn't meet your standards. The Stoics taught about living according to virtue, regardless of outcomes. Your standard is consistency. Don't compromise it because she's attractive or because you're afraid of being alone. When you internalize these 4 principles, women's inconsistency stops affecting you. You see it clearly, recognize it for what it is, and refuse to participate. You become unmovable in your standards and untouchable in your emotional independence. Now, let me drop one final truth bomb before we wrap this up. When you stop being controlled by inconsistency, women who are using it will escalate. They'll become more inconsistent, trying to hook you back in. They'll throw little breadcrumbs of attention to see if you're still playing the game. This is the extinction burst. When a manipulation tactic stops working, people unconsciously amp it up to see if they can make it work again. If you don't react, don't chase, don't break, one of 2 things will happen. Either she'll actually start being consistent because inconsistency stopped working, or she'll move on to find someone she can control. And you need to be completely okay with option 2. Because a woman who only wants you when she can control you through psychological games isn't a woman you actually want. The Stoics taught about accepting loss with dignity. If maintaining your standards means losing someone, that loss reveals they weren't right for you. Don't mourn the loss. Celebrate the clarity. You filtered out someone incompatible and made room for someone better. Here's the ultimate truth. Mature, emotionally healthy women exist. Women who are consistent because they're genuinely invested. Women who communicate clearly because they respect you. Women who don't play games because they offer real value. Those women are out there, but you'll never find them while you're wasting your energy being obsessed with inconsistent women who have you hooked on their psychological patterns. When you refuse to play the game, you automatically filter out the manipulators and filter in the quality women, the ones who appreciate your consistency and match it, the ones who value directness and provide it, the ones who respect your standards and meet them. Alright, let me bring this home. Women don't want you to know that they create obsession through strategic inconsistency. Hot then cold. Available then distant. Affectionate then withdrawn. This pattern triggers intermittent reinforcement in your brain that creates addiction stronger than consistent positive treatment ever could. Most men spend their entire lives trapped in this cycle, chasing women who have them hooked through unpredictability while taking for granted women who treat them well. They think they're in love. Really, they're just addicted to a psychological pattern they don't understand. The Stoics gave us the antidote 2,000 years ago. Control what you can control. Don't need what you can't control. See reality without delusion. Maintain your standards without compromise. When you apply these principles to your dating life, you become immune to manipulation. When she pulls away, you do nothing. When she's inconsistent, you match her energy or walk away entirely. When she violates your standards, you're gone without explanation or negotiation. And while you're doing all this, you're building a life so full that no single woman's attention or lack of attention significantly impacts you. This knowledge sets you free. Free from manipulation. Free from chasing women who don't genuinely value you. Free to build relationships based on mutual respect and consistent investment rather than addiction to intermittent reinforcement. Women who use this pattern don't want you knowing any of this because understanding it breaks their power. Well, now you know. The question is, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to keep playing a game designed to control you? Or are you going to walk away from the game entirely and build something real with someone who doesn't need psychological tricks to keep your attention? The choice is yours, brother. Choose wisely.